Hello, and welcome to Healthy California podcast. My name is Linda Brown, and I am the host of Healthy California, where my goal is to help educate you on your daily choices so we all can become healthy. I believe you, your family, your neighbor, and your community are all looking for better ways and simple ways to return to being healthy. Many of you have health issues or have family that's going through tough times that seemingly have no answers. It's frustrating. There are questions about health, environment, foods, exercise, and lifestyle, and it can be all overwhelming. And who do you believe? And where's the science behind it? This podcast will unravel the mystery behind being unhealthy and talk about little things that we can do in our lives to make a positive change in our health from all angles. So to be healthy, we need to have physical health, mental health, environmental health, financial and social health, and of course, spiritual health. Let's answer some of these questions to get healthy. What good is just listening to a podcast? I will give you resources as well, ways to take steps and make positive changes in your life to becoming healthy. This is a journey, not an assignment, so be kind to yourself. Hello, California. I'm Linda Brown, your physical therapist, functional nutritionist, and host of Healthy California. This week, we are taking a big picture look at the last 30 episodes of Healthy California. So we're taking a 30,000 foot view of what we've talked about in the last 30 episodes, kind of like putting it all together, connecting all the dots, putting the puzzle pieces together to make this beautiful picture of what you are, who you are, and your health. So why is this important? Well, health isn't just an absence of disease. It's the presence of vitality, purpose, and balance. So when we think of health, we think of vitality, right? Because we want to be healthy enough to do things, enjoy life. So that's what I think of when I think of health: vitality, purpose, and balance. So let's talk about what we've talked about over the last 30 episodes. We started with access to food in episode 1. I can talk about good food and decisions all day long. But if you don't have access to it, then it's all meaningless, right? So go back and listen to episode number 1 and to get some ideas on how to access healthy food. If you do not have the ability to get healthy food, either financially or you physically can't get there, there are resources out there just for you. So go back to that episode number 1, and figure out how to get healthy food. It's very important. Maybe you can start growing your own food. Maybe you can start a little herb garden on your windowsill or on the side of your house or in a community garden. Figure out a way to get healthy food. It's definitely worth it. It's very healthy for you, and the payback on it is immense. It's important to have healthy food because it affects development in utero, so as an infant. It affects learning in children. It affects the stress in adults, disease in adults. So we all need access to healthy foods, however we can get it. Then we talked about the gut in episode 22, constipation in episode 4, inflammation in episode 5. And it all starts in the gut. Most, if not all, diseases start in the gut. The gut is the immune powerhouse. A lot of our immunity comes from our gut. It's your second brain. It's where most of your serotonin is made. So serotonin is not just a feel-good hormone. It's a mood regulator, sleep, appetite and digestion, pain perception, cognition, and memory. So serotonin is a hormone that is mostly made in your gut. And what happens if your gut is not healthy, right? If your gut is not healthy, your body is not healthy, period. There's no way around that. If your gut is not healthy, your body is not healthy, period. And when I think of gut health, I often hear people say, well, my gut is fine. I don't have stomach aches when I eat. I'm not constipated. The symptoms of your gut being unhealthy isn't just constipation or irritable bowel syndrome or gas. It's so much more than that. Symptoms can include things you're not thinking of, like headaches and skin issues. Autoimmune disorders come from the gut. I mean, there's a genetic component as well, but if things are getting into your body through your gut, that is a problem. Inflammatory diseases, like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, brain health, that all starts in the gut. So diabetes, I did a whole episode on diabetes, episode number 7, brain health in episode 21. If you want more information on that, go back to those episodes and figure out how to lead a healthier life when it comes to brain health or diabetes. Then we talked about metabolism in episode 6, and weight and diabetes. Again, that all starts in the gut. Weight gain, fatigue, blood sugar swings, all starts in the gut. Weight isn't just about food quantity, like we think. It's more about food quality. So it's more about the quality of your food and not the quantity of your food. So the quality of your food, like, is it clean? Clean meaning, is it toxic? Does it have pesticides on it? So when I talk about food quality or eating clean and detoxification, go back and listen to episode 3, 10, 11, 6. All that will give you clues on what you can do to combat that and live a healthier life in that sense. The liver is our detox organ. If our liver isn't healthy, then how do we get the toxins out of our body? You can't lose weight with toxicity in your body. And if your liver is not healthy, then it can't get the toxins out of your body. And so we store toxins in our fat. So we end up gaining weight just because we have a toxic load. So toxicity comes from the plastics in the environment or in what we eat, what we drink. There's plastics all around us, pesticides in our food, pollution. And the liver is made to detox all that. That's what the liver does. But if our liver isn't healthy, then what happens? And even if our liver is healthy and is doing what it does, detoxing, then it's about the burden. We are supposed to be exposed to things, pesticides, plastics, and we're not supposed to be, but we can't avoid all that. And our liver can typically detox that, but it's the burden. So if we're constantly having plastic in our diet and we don't even realize it, or pesticides in our foods, it's the burden on the liver, and the liver can't keep up. So you can go back to those episodes, 3, 10, 11, 6, and figure out how you can help with keeping a clean diet. In our food, we also have pesticides, plastics. They're also considered hormone disruptors. And you can listen to episode 19 and 20 about hormone disruptors. Hormone disruptors change our hormones, including reproductive hormones, thyroid hormones, insulin, cortisol, growth hormones. They're all interconnected. So if one of those things is affected, everything is affected. And then what always happens, we gain weight. We don't have good reproductive health and can't get pregnant. Or our growth hormones don't allow us to heal. Insulin is secreted to combat the sugar, our blood sugar. And if the insulin is dysregulated, then everything's kind of thrown off. Cortisol is a stress hormone. We all have a lot of stress these days. And if we have a lot of stress and then we have hormone disruptors in our environment, then we are headed down an unhealthy road. And then we talked about stress. What about stress? I just mentioned stress. We have cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. And I talked about stress in episode 15. Stress is a powerful hormone disruptor. Even having stress in your life can affect your hormones, can and will affect your hormones. Stress is a fight or flight response. And we are meant to be in fight and flight because we always want to be able to run from that tiger, right? It's a survival mechanism. However, we were not meant to be in fight or flight 10 hours a day, 24 hours a day, however long it is that we are always in stress, going to work, at work, coming home from work, coming home, being at home. If you have stress in your environment, it's going to affect you. Again, stress is a powerful hormone disruptor. So you want to get out of that fight and flight. You want to quit running from that tiger. And how do you do that? How do you get into that rest and digest? Well, listen to episode 15. There's easy, simple ways to get out of that fight and flight and get your cortisol levels down, because cortisol levels, increased cortisol levels will put weight on your body as well. So think about fight and flight for a second when you're running from that tiger. What happens when you run from that tiger? The last thing you want to do when you're running from a tiger is reproduce. So your reproductive system stops. You're not wanting to reproduce at that moment. You also are not going to sleep well, because your sleep response is going to be stunted when you are trying to run from a tiger, or in this case, just have stress in your life. Your digestion stops, because the last thing you want to do when you're running from a tiger is digest. All your blood gets shunted elsewhere, and your stress hormone increases. When your stress hormone increases, your cortisol, it dumps blood sugar into your bloods, because blood sugar is a form of energy. We have blood sugar for energy. So our blood sugar goes up, and that's all just from being in stress. So I'm trying to put all these together for you, because I talked about each one of these separately, but I want you to start building a picture of how all these things in your life are affecting your health. What else? So we also talked about food sensitivities, allergies. That was episode 17. A major food sensitivity is gluten, dairy. We also have like allergies like seafood, nuts. And those are all things that you want to avoid if you have a sensitivity to them or an allergy, especially an allergy, because allergies are life and death situation many times. But if you're sensitive to something and you don't do anything about it, you're constantly putting your body into an inflamed state. So you're going to have inflammation in your body and you don't even realize it. It's going to be like a low-grade inflammation. So it can cause fatigue and headaches and skin problems. It can lead to long-term inflammation and then to autoimmune disorders. So having low-grade sensitivities or low-grade inflammation can lead to long-term problems, and people don't put those two together. That's why I'm putting it together again right now, is because you don't want to be in an inflamed state. And inflammation, when it comes to food, is not a symptom you're going to see right after you eat the food. So you're not going to eat and then all of a sudden you have a stomach ache. It's not going to happen that way. It's more like you eat something over and over and over, and over time you start to have joint pain, or over time you start to have skin issues or reproductive problems. That is many times in response to inflammation from what you're eating. I want to take a second to share a helpful resource with you. I have a free health questionnaire designed to pinpoint the areas in your life that you need to focus on for optimal wellness. If you're interested, simply click the link in the show notes or visit heal-throughfood.com to access it. Now let's dive back into the show. You need to get that checked out. What else did we talk about? Brain health, episode 21. So when you think about brain health, you don't just think about memory problems or mood or focus, but also long-term problems like dementia or Alzheimer's or nerve degenerative disorders. So brain health is nerve health. It's all the same thing. All your nerves in your body go to your brain, and it's all surrounded by fat. Most nerve cells have a fat layer around them, and if you think about the toxins that you're putting into your body, your liver can't detoxify it, stores it in your fat, and before you know it, the fat that it's attracted to in your body could happen to be the fat that is surrounding a nerve cell, the long tail, the axon part of the nerve. And then you start having nerve disorders or peripheral neuropathy, or in the case of your brain, dementia and Alzheimer's. There's a lot of nerve disorders or degenerative disorders that can be prevented by your changing your environment or changing your food. Especially, I'm going to highlight this, especially if you have a genetic predisposition to a nerve disorder, even dementia or Alzheimer's. If you have a family history of it, then I would do preventative measures now. Don't wait until you get a symptom. Do something now. And if you are already feeling like you have memory problems, or you starting to get to that point where you lose your keys, or you walk into a room and don't remember why, those are all red flags, honestly. It's not just old age. Don't let people think that that's old age. It's really not normal. What else did we talk about? Episode 16, we talked about pain, inflammation, physical therapy. Inflammation in episode 5. Physical therapy was last week, so episode 29. And all that is, when I think about physical therapy, I think about people that are in pain typically. We talked about being proactive and not reactive. But pain is not just physical. It's chemical. It's emotional. It's neurological. Pain can be caused by a seemingly unknown etiology, but it really comes from chronic inflammation or stress. Chronic inflammation, again, being something you ate, or I said stress. So if you've had stress in your life, or you've had a adverse childhood experience and you never really dealt with it, that's still in your body, 100% still there. So pain can be caused by something that happened long time ago, and you don't realize that a traumatic event early on in your life is still being held in your body, or even, way deep in your memory. And if you think that might be you, go back and listen to the episode 5 on inflammation or pain, episode 16, because pain isn't just a physical, I got hit in the knee and now my knee hurts, or I've had shoulder pain all my life. It's not always the case. I really want you to understand that pain is more than just physical. And the body was meant to move. I've said that before, and I'll say it many times. You'll hear it again. The body was meant to move. It's what the body knows, and it's what it was created for. We were created to move. So get your physical therapist to teach you how to move pain-free if you have pain, or learn to be efficient in your movements, how to build endurance in your heart or in your body, whether it's just endurance to walk across the room or endurance to run 26.2 miles. Your physical therapist can help you with that. Your physical therapist can also help you with posture and injury prevention, improve strength, keep more muscle on your body than adipose. Having more muscle on your body than adipose, that ratio of muscle to adipose, the more muscle you have on your body, the longer you will live. If you have more fat on your body than muscle, that's not a good ratio. So see what you can do to change that, and talk to your physical therapist if you need help. Because they can also help you with things like balance, prevent falls, improve your quality of life. That was all in last week's episode. So listen to that again, or listen to it if you haven't listened to it yet. What else have we talked about in the last 30 episodes? We talked about spiritual health, episode 23. Spiritual health, it's essential. I have a scripture verse every episode because I think it's important. And there are also studies that show people with strong spiritual community experience less stress, faster healing, and greater longevity. There's research on that. So spiritual health is really important. So the last 30 episodes are just small pieces of health. It's a lot, and there will be more. I'm not stopping this, so there's a lot of information out there. But if you have things you want to change, you don't have to fix everything today. Just start with one thing. There are small things you can do every day that aren't costly, like drink more water, get more sleep, go for a walk. That doesn't cost anything but time, maybe time out of your day. And it's important. The benefits are going to outweigh the risks. There's so many benefits from just starting there. The take home is, for health and longevity and healing, you want to eat real food, clean food, not processed food. You want to sleep. You want to take big, deep breaths. You want to exercise, stay hydrated, spend time in nature, spend time with family and friends. That's basic stuff. So go back and listen to some of these episodes that I've been talking about. Go back and start with the first episode and just go all through them and listen to them over and over if you have to. They're so important. And you will get more information to come. I'm going to be giving you more information. So understand as much as you can now as we move forward. So I am going to end with another verse, Isaiah 40, verse 11. And it says, "He will tend to his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arms. He will carry them in his bosom and gently lead those that are with young." And I picked this one for this episode because when I read this, it makes me feel like I am part of the flock and there is someone in the periphery looking out for my best interest, looking out for my safety, my health. And I am just one of those sheep or lambs that kind of have my head in the grass and not paying any attention to what I'm doing in my life, but there's someone watching out over me. I want you to take that and know that you're trying really hard and you're loved and you have someone watching out over you. So keep that in mind. And I hope you learned something new today and you were able to put some of these pieces together. And I just want to remind you to stay healthy, California. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something new. Health care and treatment should focus on being proactive and preventative, emphasizing the importance of addressing the root cause of a disease or illness. While the U.S. has an excellent trauma medicine system, helping patients when problems arise, our goals should be to prevent disease before they happen. That's why this podcast is so important to me. If you're needing further guidance or have questions on a particular matter, you can find my contact information in the show notes, where you can set up a 15-minute consultation. I also recommend you adding a functional nutritionist, a functional medicine practitioner, and a physical therapist to your healthcare team. This podcast reflects my personal opinions based on extensive research and education. It is not intended for medical diagnosis or treatment and should never replace the advice from your doctor or other healthcare professionals. To continue providing this free information, I rely on your support. Follow, subscribe, like, and share this podcast with your family and friends, or on social media. Don't forget to turn on your notifications to stay updated whenever I have a new episode released. Educating you and empowering you to take back your health is my ultimate goal. By gathering knowledge and implementing small but impactful changes, you can reclaim your well-being. This is a journey, not a quick fix, so be kind to yourself, and I'll be there to help. You got this.